Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Uncovering the Legends, where we take an in-depth look at some of the most famous and infamous legends, myths, tales, and rumors that have survived through the ages, separating fact from fiction and letting you decide what is real and what isn't. Today, we're going to be answering the question, who really wrote Take Me Out to the Ball Game? Legend has it that the lyrics were written by a man named Jack Norworth, and the music was composed by Albert Von Tilzer. But there are those out there who claim that the song was actually written by someone else entirely. So let us unpack this legend and find out once and for all who really wrote this beloved baseball classic. In 1908, a man named Jack Norworth got a job working for the New York American League team called the Highlanders, now known as the Yankees, as a sort of office boy. At the time, the game wasn't as popular as it would eventually become, and so teams often had to come up with creative ways to attract fans to games. And one way they did this was by putting on special events, such as the time that they held a baby parade at the stadium. This involved parents lining up along the third base side of the field holding their babies while the audience on the opposite side tried to catch them. Yes, it sounds just as ridiculous as it looks, but it was surprisingly successful in drawing in crowds. Amongst those who came to watch the spectacle was a songwriter named Albert Von Tilzer. It's said that after he watched the game, he took a liking to the sport, and he went into town to get his very own suit made in the colors of the team. He then headed down to the local saloon and started talking about how much fun he had at the game that day while wearing his new suit. And it was there that he met a songwriter named Jack Norworth, who was also a big fan of the team. They talked about their love of baseball and how much they enjoyed watching the team play. It was during this conversation that Jack mentioned to Albert that he'd seen the management team carrying around a big box labeled "Do Not Open Until Saturday." When asked why they had put such a mysterious box in the manager's hands, they simply said that it was a surprise for Saturday's game. Intrigued by this mysterious box, Jack and Albert decided to sneak into the stadium the following Saturday under the guise of being reporters. Once inside, they managed to locate the box and peeked inside, and when they opened it, they found two life-size dolls dressed in the team's colors. The next day, the papers ran a story about the dolls, and the boys couldn't help but feel disappointed. That is because they knew that the dolls were only going to be used for publicity stunts and that the team hadn't actually planned to do anything with them. Still, the experience inspired Jack to write a poem which he sent off to a magazine called The Sporting Life. Unfortunately, though, the poem was never published. When Jack told Albert about his idea, Albert suggested that the two of them work together to turn the poem into a song, combining his musical talents with Jack's knack for writing lyrics. The two friends worked hard on the song for a few days before finally finishing it and deciding to call it "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Jack wrote the lyrics while Albert composed the music, and both of them agreed that the song had the potential to become a hit. And so they set off to tell the world about their amazing new song. The only problem was not everyone was as excited about it as they were. In fact, many publishers thought the song was terrible and turned it down flat. And so the two disheartened creators shelved the song, believing it to be yet another failure. But unbeknownst to them, their song was about to become a sensation. One day, the owner of the Baltimore Orioles heard the song being played in a bar and immediately recognized its potential. He reached out to the duo and offered them a deal, promising to make them famous if they allowed him to use the song as the official fight song for the Baltimore Orioles. Excited by this opportunity, Jack and Albert accepted, and the song quickly became a crowd favorite. Fans loved singing along to the catchy tune, and it quickly became a staple of every home game. Soon enough, other teams began to notice the song being sung at Oriole games, and they wanted in on the action. Before long, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" was being sung at every major league game across the country. And the two friends found themselves at the center of a media storm. Newspapers were clamoring to interview them, and they were invited to perform the song at all the biggest venues in the country. At first, Jack and Albert were thrilled by all the attention, but it quickly became exhausting. They were constantly being pulled in different directions, and it seemed like there would be no end to the madness. Eventually, they decided to step back and enjoy the success of their song without drawing any more attention to themselves. Sadly, despite their initial success, the two friends ended up falling out over money. Jack felt that Albert wasn't giving him a big enough cut of the profits, and so he started looking for other people to collaborate with. Meanwhile, Albert continued to make music with other lyricists, and he never again worked with Jack. Both men went on to create other songs, but none of them ever achieved the same level of success as Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And that brings us to the rumor that the song was actually written by someone else entirely. While it's true that Jack and Albert wrote the song Take Me Out to the Ball Game, there's a small part of the story that many people don't know. You see, before they wrote the song, it already existed in a way. In fact, there was an almost identical song floating around the country at the time called My Baby Done Got Married West. It had been recorded by multiple artists and was even copyrighted. So what does that mean for the legend of Jack and Albert? Well, it means that while they did indeed write the song Take Me Out to the Ball Game, they likely didn't come up with the melody or the original concept. Instead, they took the existing song and changed the lyrics to fit their vision. This is actually pretty common practice in the music industry. Songs are often based on other songs, and the lyrics are changed to fit a different theme. In some cases, this is done intentionally as a way to pay homage to the original artist. In other cases, it's done unintentionally as a way to avoid copyright infringement. There's also the possibility that Jack and Albert simply remembered the story differently. After all, it was over 100 years ago, and they may have conflated the two events in their minds. The truth is, we may never know for sure. What do you think really happened? Was Take Me Out to the Ball Game truly an original creation, or was it based on an earlier song? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future videos. As for Jack and Albert, their story ended on a rather sour note, but that doesn't mean that their music didn't leave a lasting impact on the world. Take Me Out to the Ball Game has become one of the most iconic songs in American history, and it continues to be played at sporting events all over the country. It's a song that brings people together and creates memories that will last a lifetime. So while there may be some debate surrounding the true origins of the song, one thing is for sure, it's a timeless classic that will continue to be enjoyed by generations to come. And with that, today's episode of Uncovering the Legends has come to an end. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed learning about the possible origins of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and once again, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future episodes. Until then, my friends, stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you all next time.